Hello everyone, now's as good a time as any to just go over the slate of things coming out next year and what we're looking at for next year in 2025, specifically at Marvel this time because they released a trailer of all their stuff coming out on Disney Plus, and I had some reactions to that next year because it has overall been, as expected, incredibly bleak year in 2024 for movies. And I just think that it's right to look over what's going to happen in 2025. And the more I look it over, the more bleak it looks for 2025 as well. Particularly, once again, we're going to be just focusing in on Marvel for this video. So I have a list here of all of their projects that they released. And I just want to go over them and talk about how there are definitely projects that I'm looking forward to next year. But I just don't think it's enough to save the pit that they have dug themselves into. And so it's going to look like a pretty bleak time for Marvel until potentially Avengers Doomsday in 2026. Now, let's look up. So what's going to be released first next year is a new SpiderMan cartoon in January. Now, I've seen that we haven't gotten a full trailer for this. We've gotten some leaked footage from Comic-Con. We've gotten just some stills. We've gotten a little bit of footage in this trailer, and honestly, I know that a lot of people are ragging on it for the animation. They were doing the same thing for X-Men 97, and that was overall well received, so I don't really have a strong opinion on that, and I just don't have a strong opinion of this show in general, because here's what happened last year, or this year. We started to see superhero cartoons change back to being more for adults, like they used to be in the 90s, and that was great, but also I wasn't thrilled with what we got. Like, I thought that Cape Crusader was overall really boring, and X-Men 97, as you remember, really liked it in the beginning, and then they assassinated my favorite character, and then I just saw so much of the Magneto fetishizing and how fast-paced the show was, you know, to its detriment, just how fast-paced. So far, I'm not really convinced that superhero cartoons are back and that I can trust them for consistent quality, and I can't really do that for this show because one of the good things, well, it was a good thing and a bad thing about X-Men 97 is it did try to be very, very accurate to the comics, and I think that led to some story points that were very, very rushed and forced because they were just trying to make everything so accurate to the comics, but in other cases, some characters were done very well and some good storylines from comics were adapted, but I don't know if that is going to be the case with this Spider-Man show. Was X-Men 97, did it just happen to have people who love the comics working on it? Is that going to be shown in the new Spider-Man cartoon as being a pattern with Marvel right now? Because, I mean, we have What If, which most people don't like or care about. So right now we don't have a pattern to prove that these shows will be good. But I haven't seen anything in the new Spider-Man cartoon that tells me it's going to be bad. I just don't know how it's going to be. So that is an up in the air one. And by the way, X-Men 97 is nowhere to be found on this slate, and this confirms reports that we had gotten before that it has been delayed all the way to 2026 and that they are rewriting scripts. I don't know if they are rewriting the entire thing. I don't know if it's possible for them to do that. I don't think they are because they did have some of it done. But what I think that they're doing, I think they're getting rid of the DeMeo-isms from it. You know, the weird fetishization that he had from the first season, any of his weird ideas that he was intending to do for the second season, because he definitely had a lot of them that he revealed on social media, and I think that they're trying to change away from that. They're trying to get rid of his imprint on the show, and that's why it's taking so long. And fine by me. Like, I would rather not go. I would rather them wait and do a season that can be different from what DeMeo intended, and they still have all the other writers on the show, rather than give us what was the first season, which was a lot of good stuff that got overwhelmed by the end with the bad for me. So I'm very relieved that they're doing that. But after that, we have Captain America 4. And this is a movie that I think a lot of people consider DOA. The insiders, or the rumors that have been coming out say that it's still testing very poorly. And I think that this is just going to be written off. And it says a lot that they're releasing it in February. February is when studios, January and February, that's when they dump their worst movies or their riskiest movies. Sometimes you can get a big hit like Deadpool in 2016 or Black Panther. But that's why they put them there, is because February is a month month where usually the business is the slowest. I'm sorry I'm stuttering so much. January is the slowest month of them all, where nothing has ever been a huge success. But February, if you get a movie in there and it bombs, then no big deal. It hasn't taken up any of the best slots for release dates. But if it does make a lot of money, great. And there's usually not a lot of competition. But that is why Cap 4 is slated for February. And I think it's because they know that this is going to be a disaster. And this is a movie, and I think that it's going to be sort of like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and the Marvels, is that it's really going to continue to damage Marvel's reputation. And so I'm concerned about that. I'm definitely going to have to watch it to review it, but I'm concerned, are they going to be able to survive another disaster like that? But after that, in March, we have Daredevil Born Again, and this is the show that I have full confidence is going to be good. I'm really looking forward to it. This is the first show that we've heard of that there was a major overhaul of what it was going to be, and they wanted it to be more like the comics. They wanted it to be more like what fans would want. They changed it so they originally were going to kill off Karen and Foggy, but then they put them in the show. So, and the trailers that have leaked out from Comic-Con, D23, and New York Comic-Con, they look great. So I am 100% looking forward to Daredevil. And, after The Penguin, lots of the adult TV that they've been making for these comic book shows have just been so good. So I am really looking forward to this. And we hear that Daredevil Born Again is hard R-rated. However, here's the unfortunate thing about Daredevil Born Again. It is a hard R-rated show, and it is a revival of a show that came out on Netflix all the way in 2015. And Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio are going to have to work against their appearances in She-Hulk and Hawkeye and Echo, where they weren't portrayed so great. So it's an uphill battle for Daredevil Born Again. I don't think personally that it's going to get a lot of viewership. I think that fans who watch it are going to love it and it's going to have great word of mouth, but I don't think that it's going to be a widely viewed show, even if it is great. And so the problem there is it's not going to be something that is going to change the reputation of the MCU. Maybe it'll start changing it a little bit as we start to gradually get more projects with better word of mouth, but you need something bigger than that. So I think Daredevil Born Again is going to be great, but it can't save Marvel. Now we have Thunderbolts, which comes out in May, and as you know, really did not care for that trailer. I thought the trailer was continuing on with everything wrong with the MCU. The rumors, however, from people who've seen it, like, for example, Mark Millar, who, whatever you think about his comics, he does have access to see the film. Other insiders I've seen have said that Thunderbolts is actually testing a lot better. It's actually a lot more entertaining. I'm not sure how much stock I put in that. Because I mean, do you mean that it's entertaining relative to the kinds of MCU films we've been getting overall, or is it a legitimately good movie? I think what is a good sign for it, two good signs really, is one, it's being released in May. Now that is a good month to release movies, so that would tell me that maybe Marvel has a little bit of confidence in it. Then again, they don't really have a lot more to release, so maybe they're just putting out whatever they have. The other thing that it has going for it is it's true, it didn't start shooting until I think it was after the Marvels. So after the big reset allegedly happened at Marvel Studios, and they started to try to, make changes to Daredevil and things like that, and start to have a different direction going forward, they started doing the Thunderbolts finally. So maybe it's going to be indicative of the new regime at Marvel, their new direction, trying to get back to the comic book accuracy. But then again, even if it is an entertaining movie, I don't think that it's going to get more than maybe perhaps breaking even after really good word of mouth, because these characters just are not popular enough to bring people in. And, the Taskmaster that everyone hated, that's one of the characters in the movie. I just don't think that this can work with that. And that's what I mean, is that Marvel just has such a rough month ahead of them, a year ahead of them. And after that, you've got Ironheart. Now, I saw some of the footage for Ironheart, and to be honest, I don't think the trailer itself looks bad. But here's the problem with Ironheart is this is a character that undeniably has a lot of baggage from the comics, where she was made into a very unlikable character. So she already has people who really dislike her. But beyond that, she wasn't really able to garner fans from the Wakanda Forever movie. And honestly, I keep forgetting that she was even in the MCU, because her character in the MCU version has just been really bland and forgettable. So I don't think that anyone really wants to watch this show. I think I saw that Ryan Coogler was directing the show. If that's the case, then perhaps it'll be better. better. The first Black Panther was really good, but I'm just kind of questioning, is this going to be, because some people, because they hate the character of Ironheart, are saying that this is going to be the big bomb from Disney Plus in 2025. I'm not sure. I'm wondering if it might be more of a Miss Marvel situation where it's not bad, but it just doesn't have a big audience for it. I don't know. They are making her a criminal, and I think that that could bring some ire to the character, if I use the right word. But I'm not sure. I'm just going off of what we see in the trailers, and I'm saying that as of now, the trailer does not look like the worst thing. I just know that people are rearing to hate on this project because of who the character is and who she was in the comics. But after that, we have Fantastic Four First Steps. And listen, I want to like this film. I want to be excited for a Fantastic Four film. Like the X-Men, I've been waiting to see them in the MCU for so long. However, I'd be lying if I said that everything in this movie has kind of turned me off to what they're doing on the concept. It's directed by Matt Shakman, who did WandaVision, and I am overall a fan of WandaVision, but Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, that honestly killed it for me. That is one of the worst castings ever, especially since they had other people in the casting process that looked a lot more like Reed Richards, that, had the facial structure and everything, that gave more scientist. Maybe they cast Pedro Pascal because he's a dad in everything, but I've just, even the little bit that we've gotten from leaks and stuff, it's like, it's just Pedro Pascal being Pedro Pascal, like he isn't everything. That is so disappointing to me. I'm not sure I like the futuristic direction. I mean, the sort of 60s future direction that they're going in. I don't like that title. I'm not thrilled with any of the other castings of the movie. They don't really give these characters like they're supposed to. And this is supposed to be a big deal because this is Marvel's first family, and it's going to lead directly into Avengers Doomsday. And I want to like it, but it's just like everything about it is just nothing that I wanted from the Fantastic Four. And I get concerned because I talked about in previous videos the potential that maybe they're making it an alternate universe because of the lingering contracts from Fox. But I'm also wondering, based on things that Kevin Feige has said about Wolverine, if he's just really worried about the fact that these characters were already done by the Fox universe and he just really, really wants to do something different with them, hence the alternate universe. And I'm worried that that's going to carry over to the X-Men as well, when the X-Men have never been done accurately on screen before. So, yeah, and here's the thing. Even if Fantastic Four surprised it as a really great movie, they've already had 2 franchises before that have failed. They don't have the positive momentum of the MCU anymore. So I'm wondering, even if it's really good, how much is it really going to make? Like $600 million max? I'm not sure. That's what I mean by this is a really, really rough year for Marvel. And they kind of need Fantastic Four to do well to lead into Avengers Doomsday. So then we have one last project to go over. I think this releases in August. I'd have to go back and check, but it's Wonderman. Now, I've heard nothing about Wonderman in so long other than they had a tragedy on set. I had no strong opinions of it other than most Marvel Disney Plus content has not been good, so I wouldn't expect this to be good until proven otherwise. But surprisingly, Wonderman was the thing that I liked the least out of this trailer, because it's like Simon Williams here reading for Wonderman. He's an actor in a show, and instantly, like, I'm not an expert on Wonderman or anything, but I'm like, who is this character? This is a completely different thing. What is this show? And you've got Trevor Slattery coming back, and I'm like, please, let go of this character, let go of the joke. And we only got like 11 seconds in here, but surprisingly, Wonderman was the thing that I responded to negatively the most, because I'm like, this has nothing to do with Wonder Man, and you're going back with that quirky, silly vibe that the MCU has been plagued with, that it needs to continue to try to get away from. And so, like, Wonderman, I think that might be the big disaster of next year. But as you can see, 2025 just does not look like it's going to revive anyone's love for Marvel. And that's a big thing, because you need people to be interested in Avengers Doomsday. And I think that maybe, regardless of all this, they could be, because I think Avengers Doomsday will shape up to be a reunion film with Robert Downey Jr. coming back. I 100% guarantee they're going to have Chris Evans as Captain America come back. Chris Hemsworth has said he will come back if he gets a chance. And there's a lot of actors who are making it sound like they were done with the MCU who have been talking about the potential of coming back. And you've got Tom Holland as Spider-Man coming back, which, now that I think about it, that kind of guarantees the money for it. But 2025, it looks like kind of a dead year for Marvel, even if we have some surprises in it. But Will you still look at some of these projects like Daredevil Born Again? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you, patrons, as always, for supporting this channel, and I will see you guys next time.